Hi everyone, I'm Rosie and welcome back to my channel. For many people, sourdough is not only a tastier option, but also a healthier one that's easier to digest compared to normal bread. I'm going to show you how to make an even healthier sourdough with 100% sprouted whole grain flour. I also like to pack this bread full of seeds for added vitamins, minerals, protein, and healthy fats. These added superfoods make this one of the most nutrient-dense breads there is. And it's super tasty! This bread is so hearty with a delightful nutty taste and has great texture with all those seeds. This recipe is dedicated to one of my beloved viewers, Lori. Lori, thank you so much for all your kind words and for sharing your baking adventures with me. Your support through Buy Me a Coffee helped me build up my flour stash so I could experiment with the sprouted spelt flour I'm using today. Let's get started. I'm going to start off by measuring out the seeds. I have 1/4 cup each of sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, ground flax seeds, hemp seeds, and black sesame. Feel free to substitute any of these for other nuts or seeds that you like. I'll be using 500 grams of sprouted spelt flour, but you can use sprouted or regular whole wheat flour instead. I add 2 teaspoons of Himalayan pink salt and 2 tablespoons of unfed starter straight from the fridge. I then mix in all the seeds. Lastly, I add 1 3/4 cup of room temperature water. If you want to see the incredibly simple way I made my starter with no discard and no weighing, I'll link that video in the description box. Like my basic insanely easy sourdough method, it'll be about 24 hours from the time you make the dough till the time you bake it. This long fermentation time is especially important when making bread with 100% whole grain flour. Many whole grain sourdough recipes start with an extended autolyse where just flour and water are mixed together and the dough rests for several hours before the addition of the starter and salt. This autolyse period allows for the flour to fully hydrate for gluten development, which takes much longer for whole grain flour compared to white flour. And it allows for enzymes to break down some of the proteins and starches to make the dough more stretchy and easier to consume for the yeast. Altogether, autolyse leads to better texture and flavor in the final product. When I was first learning how to make sourdough, I experimented a lot with this autolyse period, but I always found it annoying to work in the starter and salt into the already formed dough. My hands were always tired and cramping from the process, so I figured out an easier way. I just mix all the ingredients from the beginning, so I'm essentially allowing the autolyse to happen with all the ingredients together. Since I use such a small amount of unfed starter straight from the fridge, the dough doesn't overproof by the time it's ready to bake. Also, many people say that salt interferes with the autolyse, and that's why it's typically added later, but I honestly couldn't tell the difference with this method, and mixing everything from the beginning was much easier. I'm just mixing until everything is combined. I'm going to let this dough rest for several hours, and I'll smooth out any clumps later. Check out the texture of this dough. It's not nearly as elastic as dough made with bread flour. Because of the sprouted spelt flour and all the seeds, more kneading won't make this dough much smoother, so I don't even bother with folds throughout the day. I just let it rise undisturbed at room temperature till the evening. I just gather up the dough and tuck in the sides to shape it. I then transfer it to the loaf pan and let it do its final proof overnight. I like to cover it with a second loaf pan, but if you don't have a second pan that fits, you can make a domed cap from foil. For the first 40 minutes, I bake it with the cover on top. This keeps the top from browning too much and traps in steam, which is usually helpful for oven spring. However, with this dough, there's very little oven spring because of the type of flour and all the seeds I've used. I hope you give this recipe a try and let me know how it goes for you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more easy cooking and baking videos, and say hi in the comments. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye!